Okay, this is Eric at RC Monster Garage. We're gonna start a new thing. I'm gonna start showing stuff about flying toys, and we're gonna start with another helicopter from Horizon Hobby. This is the 230S, and this is the version 2 of this helicopter. It's electric helicopter. It is actually a 6-channel helicopter. It's 4-channel to fly it, and they have 2 channels to control the gyro and 1 to do aerobatic. Let's open it up and show you what there is inside of the box. This is the bind and fly version, and I'm going to explain the difference between the two and going to recommend you how to do that smart. Let's open it up. When you open it up, you're going to have your user manual over here. You're going to need this. Please read it very carefully. Let's put it aside. And then you have the helicopter. It's packed pretty nice. It's not going to come broken or anything. And this is what you're going to get. There is additional bag right here that will have inside some zip ties. They give you actually some pieces of Velcro, and there is a bind plug inside. Well, let's take the bind plug out, and I'm gonna explain in a second what this is gonna do. Let's move everything aside. Okay, so this is the helicopter. This is the canopy. You're just gonna remove it. This is actually your helicopter. This is just a plastic canopy that arrived with it, that cover the front. In addition, when you buy this helicopter, you're gonna have to get yourself a lithium battery. There is 800 milliamp battery that fit for this. I took the Venom battery. The Venom are very good battery. They're very reliable, and this is a 11.1 volt 800. It's gonna sit right here. And before you can do anything, if you bought the bind and fly version, not the ready to fly, it means that it did not arrive with a remote. You're gonna have to have your own remote system. So I highly recommend to get the DX6E, not the remote that they are giving with it. The one that come with a ready to fly version, if the more simple version of it. Later on, if you get a better remote, you can transfer it to more complicated helicopter, and you have screen and everything on it, so it's going to be much easier for you. Let's go over to the helicopter and look what we got. So to start, you're going to have to straighten your blade. Each time you get a new toy, especially a new helicopter, make sure that everything is tied good, that nothing is like over tight, it's going to be hard and can break. Check very good that all your servos are mounted the right way, that over here nothing is broken, nothing is bent, other way as well. Now in the old style helicopter, they used to have what called fly bar. It used to have another metal rods here with 2 weight or 2 pedals that will shift it backward forward. This is a fly bar less, so it can fly without it. It's actually make it much easier, and this is very stable platform. Now check that your swash plate is good, that nothing is broken on the shipping for it. Those small ears on it, the small round pieces, can break very easily, so you have to make sure they're not broken when you get them and on your first flight. Another thing that I highly recommend to do is right here where the gear merge, to see that the gears are binding nicely and they turn freely, to see that nobody at the factory make it really too tight and then it's going to grind itself out. This is very important. Now if you look at this helicopter, you will see that there is a plastic pads here that have nothing on it. They probably designed this to have a gyro here that now they don't need it. It's all in one in the receiver. So your receiver is going to be the part right here, this part over there. Now in order to bind it with your remote, what you're going to need to do is you're going to have to take your bind plug, plug it here in channel number 6. Channel number 6 is all the way to the left. When you look at the helicopter from here, from the back, it's going to be all the way from the left. You're going to have to put a plug in, turn on your remote, set it up to the bind, and then the helicopter will bind. Then you're gonna have to shut off everything, remove the bind plug, and then it's good to go. Now, one thing before I forget that I think is the most important thing about radio controlled helicopters. When you first set up your battery before any flight, what you need to make sure, you plug your battery and you put it on a flat surface and you don't touch it. Just plug the battery, make sure the remote is always on first, and leave it for a second so the gyros inside gonna set themselves out to straight and level, and then they know that this is straight and level and not that, not this or that. This is a very important part for the radio controlled helicopter, is each time you start it, you have to make sure it's going to be on a flat surface. Give it about 5 seconds or so, let everything get stable, and then you're good to go. Other thing, when you're going to put your battery in, you can go with different batteries. I'm going to show another type. This is another type of battery from Venom that is a different shape. As long as it's fit and clear the canopy, it's no matter the shape. If it cannot fit all the way in, obviously it's like it's not going to work for you. But when you do install your battery, you're going to open the Velcro, you're going to set it up, and you want it to be as far forward possible. The reason is that there is here a center of gravity, the CG of the helicopter. So if you lift it from those 2 points, you will see right now that it's kind of tilting a little bit backwards. It means that it's tail heavy. When the helicopter tail heavy, it's going to try to pull backwards. But if you move the battery just a little bit forward as much as you can, see, it's corrected a little bit, but it's still not as good. Those canopy weigh absolutely nothing. Even when you add the canopy, it's not going to change a lot. So what I highly recommend to do is maybe take a little bit of fishing lead or even wheel balancing lead, and just put a small piece over here on the front. You put 2 fingers right on the screws right there. Those 2 screws under the blades is the best place to hold it. Make sure everything is straight. Lift it up and see that it's gonna get balance. So this is a little bit tail heavy, but it still should work fine. This is just how to do that. Now, whenever you put your battery, make sure that the battery gonna be tight inside, laced really good, and then you have to plug it in. There is no on-off switch on this thing, so when you plug the battery, it's gonna be ready to go. So make sure when you plug the battery, it's on a stable surface. After you plug your battery, you're gonna install your canopy, and there is those small ears over here. You have to make sure that it click all the way through. You have to see the pins coming back out. If not, this can go out, hit your blades, and your entire helicopter will be gone. There's one on the left, one on the right, so you have to do both of them. Now, I just put the canopy real quick, just to show that even with the canopy on, it's still going to be a little bit tail heavy. So obviously it's need a little bit weight here on the front. You can actually just set a piece of lead in the canopy itself on the far end. Further you go forward, the arm will be shorter, so it's better for you. It means that you don't have to put so much weight to take it down. So you can put here a smaller piece versus if you put a bigger piece here to make it heavier. So the entire helicopter will stay a little bit lighter. Now let's show what there is. I'm going to take the canopy again to show a little bit about the motor. So this is a 230 helicopter. They have the brushless motor kind of buried right there, and this is the main blade motor, and it's a 3S brushless electric motor. And what it does, it's gonna turn for you the entire gear. They turn the swash plate to make the helicopter hover. In other helicopter, they used to have a belt that drive all the way to the back, or they used to have a shaft. On this one, what they did, they just put a brushless motor here on the back with a fixed pitch propeller. What it's mean that this thing just gonna be set up, and if you break the boom over here, it's gonna be very easy to replace. You just put it in, plug it, and you're done. You don't have to adjust the belt. You don't need to know if the belt going left or right. So it's gonna be much easier for you to work with. When you set it up first time, you have to make sure that everything is 90 degrees. It's already set pretty good from the factory. If you're new to RC helicopter, there is a tool that's called pitch gauge that you're gonna set up on your blade so you can see the angle on them. This thing come out of the box for beginners, ready to go, so you don't have to deal with it too much. The blades are pretty flexible. It's good for a beginner, but I would like to see a stiffer blade. Consider that this is supposed to be a fully aerobatic helicopter, what's mean that it can do that. You can fly it inverted, no problem at all, and it's a safe flight, so it's gonna fly, literally gonna set itself to do that. Additionally, what they did on this helicopter, they made the safe system on it, so you have a recovery mode. So even if you try to do any kind of aerobatic and you already did that and you press the button, it will just straight and level right away. This is something great for beginners, but learn to hover before you start doing aerobatic. It will save you a lot of money. Let's put the canopy real quick. This is just the first kind of unboxing and review of this helicopter, and I'm gonna do another video of me flying it outside, showing you how this thing gonna hover. Let's see. Sometimes it's a little bit harder to put those canopies on. So it's set up. Let's put it aside, and I want to go over the remote real quick. This remote does not come with this helicopter. You get it separate, and the reason that I did that is because it's going to be a much better remote. When you get into the radio control hobby, a lot of people get into the concept of getting everything cheap. It's a major mistake. Everybody's saying that you need to go to eBay or Amazon and buy the cheapest stuff. It's a big mistake, because then you're not getting something that will last for the next couple of years. If you're just doing it just as a toy for a kid, it's okay, but not if you're trying to make a hobby out of it. I highly recommend to get this remote, not the ready to fly version, and this is my opinion. Of course other people have their opinion. The reason is that this is computerized. When you turn it on, you will have a nice screen that will turn on over here, and you can set it up for a helicopter or airplane, and it will actually show you when it's set up on a helicopter that there is a small helicopter right there, so you know that it's set up for the helicopter. Then I can set up all the mixing, and you need to set for this helicopter all the mix for the swash plate in order to do aerobatic. There is something that called idle up. The idle up of this remote will be like one of the switches that you're gonna flip, and then the motor gonna stay on a high RPM, so you can actually do whatever aerobatics that you want. This is one of the things that's important. I highly recommend to get the better remote than the cheap remote. Okay, and then on the back of the remote there is some connectors, some stuff that you can change. It's run on a regular battery, but it's still a very good remote. To get inside to the option, you have a lot of different options that you can go through. Very good beginner remote, and it's investment in your hobby for the future. And if you see, the remote is almost the size of the helicopter on this case. Again, this is Eric at RC Monster Garage, MotoStyle Hobby Shop in Granada Hills, 17540 Chatsworth Street in Granada Hills. We have those in stock right now. Please like and subscribe. Don't forget to press the subscribe so you can see more about helicopter, airplanes. We do a lot of RC cars, and I am very big on the aircraft, but I never thought about doing this since so many people stopped flying. So I'm gonna start doing a couple video about helicopters. We start with a small one, and I'm gonna go all the way to the big gas one. I'm gonna show video about EDF jets, completely big size turbine jet, and other very cool RC toys. See you on my next video. Again, this is Arik at RC Monster Garage. Don't forget to like and subscribe.